everyone, welcome back. Today I'm getting ready to go out to dinner tonight, so I thought I would film it and do a little bit of a chatty talk through. I used to love these kinds of videos when I watch them on other YouTubers. I just don't always get the opportunity to film them, but I have time today, so I wanted to just get ready with you. So I'm going to zoom you in and we'll get started on the eyes because that's how I prefer to start my makeup. So today I'm going to be pulling out some old favorites of mine. So I don't think anything in this video is actually that new, which is kind of nice. I'm rediscovering old favorites. After I filmed that video, I think it was 5 palettes I'm going to pull out for the fall that have been neglected. I've kind of been focusing on a lot of my older products, which is nice. I'm also going to be drinking my favorite cider here. This is the Brickworks Queen Street 501 cider. They're mostly known for their batch 1904 one, but I prefer this one because it's a little bit sweeter. Which is funny, I like my wine quite dry, but apparently I like my cider a little bit sweeter. So I'm just gonna start priming my eyes. This is the Essence I Heart Strobing Highlighting Eyeshadow Base. I've been running through this one and it's fine, but I don't really have an eyeshadow base preference anymore, because they all basically do the same thing so long as I stack them. I can't use one anymore. I know I've repeated this a lot over the years, but I get the question every now and then, why are you using 2 eyeshadow primers? It's because one won't work on me, which is really unfortunate, but hey, you do what you gotta do. So I'm following it up with another Essence one. This one's in a pot. I'm kind of tired of this. I used up another one that was a little bit more yellow based, and it's fine, but it also goes on quite bright white, and then the more you blend it out, the bigger the white expands, obviously. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's not as seamless with my skin as I would hope it would be. And I'm fairly pale, although I've got a little bit of a summer tan on me right now. Fundamentally, I'd just rather use NYX's Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk if I want a white base. But there's nothing fundamentally wrong with this, so I've just been trying to use it up. I just hit pan the other day. I don't think you can see it very well, but it's always nice hitting pan on things. So now that I've primed, I'm going to be going in with my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. So happy to be using this again. The shades in here are very neutral, and for whatever reason I'm feeling neutrals quite a bit lately. I think it's because it's fall time and I like the aesthetic of trying to make my makeup look like fall leaves when they're dying. So I've really been enjoying this palette. I've seen a lot of people pulling this out recently. I think it was Amanda Roberts who pulled it out for a post, and she was just like, you know, revisiting the palette, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing that too, so that's kind of fun. Mine is so old that I don't have the printing on the inside, I don't have the sleeve that it came with, so I think this one's Salted Caramel, but I'm going in with that one first. And that's just going through my transition area. So, what's been going on lately? IMATS is coming up, IMATS Toronto, which is quite a small IMATS in comparison to the other ones I've been to. At this point I've been to New York and LA, and I have to say Toronto is definitely the smallest one out of those 3 that I've been to. But it's always fun to go. I do get a press pass, which is really nice. For Toronto, you have to have like a really high number of YouTube subscribers, but the blog requirement is not as high, so I qualify for my blog, which is great. So I get a free pass into there. There's a few things on my list to pick up, namely some lit glitters. Always love picking more up there. And they're a much better deal in Canada than they are in the US. So I always get them whenever I'm at Toronto IMATS. And then actually, Julie and I have plans to go to IMATS London next year. It's in May, and that should be a lot of fun. It gives us a good reason to travel. Like, I love going places no matter what, but sometimes you need a reason to go somewhere with somebody, and IMATS kind of like ties that in for us. So that's in May. We're planning on going. I think Sam expressed some interest in going with us as well, which is great. Okay, moving on to the shade beside it. So I think we're gonna turn that trip into like a 10-day vacation, just because I don't think Julie's ever been to the UK. I've been a few times. I had an ex-boyfriend who lived there, so I spent a decent amount of time over there. She's never been to the UK, so we're going to be going to London, and then I think we're also going to be doing Ireland as well, probably staying more around Dublin, just because I don't want to drive, and I don't think she's that keen on driving either. It's on the other side of the road, so I don't really want to get into an accident. Alright, sticking with that same row, apparently I'm going in with the darker matte shade. I do have a trip booked that's a little bit sooner than next May, and that is New York City. I go every single year, primarily to visit my friend Dorothy, who lives there. We were university roommates, and then she moved to New York when university was over. So I've been going back, I think, pretty much every year since university finished. And I had gone several years throughout university. I just really like New York City, so I'm always happy to go back. And I don't necessarily need to do the tourist things anymore, so it's fun just to go and hang out, because I've kind of already done like all the big important things that people want to see. So for me, it's really just a chance to go hang out with my friends, which is fun. It's funny to say that though, because it's really like I'm just going to New York to like have drinks and dinner with my friends. But it's nice though. It makes me feel comfortable with New York. I've always loved the city, and I just kind of want to feel like I'm a resident. Clearly not, but it's nice to like know where you're going when you get there, because you've been going for like 15 years. Okay, that ended up being a little bit more brown than I was wanting, so I'm gonna go in with this shade over here and just layer that on top. And I'm also gonna be running a half marathon in New York City. That's not doing anything. Let me get a flat brush. I'm also gonna be running a half marathon in New York City. It's in Brooklyn. I always like to find one when I'm going. I haven't done a half marathon there yet though. I think I've only done 10Ks. I did a 10K in Central Park last year, and then I did a 10K on, is it Randall's Island? Firefighters Island? Something like that. Between Manhattan and Brooklyn. But this year I'm going to be doing a half marathon. Alright, to highlight the brow bone, shocking, but I'm going in with the matte cream shade. And I'm just going to clean my fallout. It doesn't really look like I've got any, right? Well, I assure you, I do. This is why I don't understand how people can do their face makeup first when it doesn't even look like you've got fallout and you're still pulling like gunk off your face. So I always do eyeshadow first, always. All right, now for the fun part of this look. I'm gonna be using a copper eyeliner. This one is by Tarte and it's called Lucky Penny. I've used this a few times before and it is so freaking pretty. It goes on very metallic, which is, I always feel a little bit surprising for a gel liner, but this color is beautiful. I'm using a MAC 210 brush for this, but it might be on its last leg, so I might have to grab another brush. Oh, I love that color. I always forget to use my colored gel liners just because I always gravitate towards black because I like to make my eyes darker. So I forget just how pretty they are. I need to pull this out a lot more this fall season. All right, I'm gonna finish up the eyes with some mascara and I'm gonna try false lashes. I say try because I'm not used to putting false lashes on when I don't have a black liner. So actually maybe I'm gonna take my Physician, nope, this is the Art Deco one, and do a really thin line just at the base of my lashes. So I've got something that the eyelashes will stick to and not look too obvious. I'm just not very good at getting it right on my lash line. Usually they're a little bit higher. For mascara, I'm using my baby size sample of the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. I love this mascara, but I've never bought a full size. I always get it when it's like a tiny point perk at Sephora. And these little things last forever, like months and months and months. So I can't bring myself to spend like the 30 bucks on high-end mascaras anymore just because you throw them out too fast. So I always get these as a point perk whenever they're up on Sephora. For lashes, I'm using an old favorite. I used to wear these all the time when I first started doing videos because I thought I didn't want too much of a big lash on camera. That's changed a lot, but these are nice for just like going out for dinner. So these are the House of Lashes Au Naturel ones, and I like these ones because the band, well, I've worn them a few times, so there's a little bit of black liner on it, but the band is invisible, so hopefully these will go on this copper liner not too poorly. I'm okay at putting on lashes, like I do it quite a bit, especially for videos, but I'm not the best at putting them perfectly in place, so I prefer a like translucent band if I'm going to be putting it on top of something that is not black. While I'm waiting for this lash glue to dry, let's talk about Halloween because that's coming up. I'm so excited. This year we're doing Alice in Wonderland. My friend Steve, who originally got me into doing all this Halloween stuff, has actually done it before, but we're redoing it with different people this year. The group has kind of dwindled a little bit. We don't have nearly as many people as like a few years ago, but it should be fun. I'm going as Alice, which is kind kind of easy. It's an easy costume. I'm not going to make it because I don't know how to sew, so I'll probably just buy an adult costume that is not the sexy version of things. I actually want to look like the young child Alice. I already have a wig, which is handy, and the outfit should be relatively easy to find. So I'm really excited for October, not only because of Halloween, it's just my favorite month out of the entire year. The weather gets a lot colder, I can run outside comfortably and not be like dying of heat. Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. Halloween, all the Halloween stuff. I love going to haunted houses, watching horror movies. Everything to do with October I am all about. Okay, I think these are ready. Pray for me. Pretty good. I'm quite happy. I think that black liner at the baseline really helped. I am so pleased right now. I got these on exactly where I wanted them. That could not have gone better. All right, zoomed you out for the rest of the face. I'm gonna start with foundation, obviously. This is the Boots No. 7 Instant Radiance Foundation. This is like my perfect summer color, and it's also one of my favorite formulas. It's called Instant Radiance, and it does have a bit of a dewy sheen to it. It's on the more sheer side of things, which I prefer. So I always love busting this out in the summer because it just, like, look at that. It matches my skin. And I have a lot of foundation that I like, but I don't feel like all of them are the best color match. This tends to be the perfect color for me because somehow it matches my face enough and my neck that almost never occurs. Usually my face doesn't match my neck or I'm wearing the wrong shade, and honestly I find it very difficult to color match for myself. I can see it on other people, but I can never tell on myself. I also don't love tons of coverage because I like my freckles. I want them to show through, but sometimes I want just some of the redness to go away. So also in October, I am still heavily into Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer, by the way. That obsession has not died down, and they have a tour called the Thank You Canada Tour that's going to a lot of smaller rinks in Canada. I think they've already started actually, but they're coming to, well, now they've announced that they're coming to Mississauga, which is very close to Toronto, but at the time of the announcement of the tour, there was no Toronto date, so I think I got tickets for, is it Kitchener? It might be Kitchener, which is about an hour outside of Toronto, I think. I'm not very good at knowing where things are in Toronto because I didn't grow up here and I don't have a car in the city either. So in Ottawa, I knew where everything was because that's where I grew up, and also I use my parents' car all the time. But living in downtown Toronto, there's no need for a car. So I don't really get to experience the outer perimeter of Toronto very often, which means that I almost know where nothing is outside of the city. But I think the tour is in Kitchener, and it's at the very end of October. So I forced my husband into going. I don't think he's that excited, but I don't care. I bought us the tickets and we're going. I wish I had discovered them for myself when they were still like competing all the time, because really I only got them at the tail end of their athletic career for like the Olympics and all that. So I'm so sad about that. I wish I'd been there since the beginning. Okay, that's good enough for foundation. Moving on to bronzer. I'm busting out the NYX Matte Bronzer. This is in the shade Light, which it's light-ish, but I would not wear this in the winter because it's a little bit too dark. And there's actually a little bit of a peachy tone to it, which is nice because I think it goes with the eyes. And I do not remember it being this dusty. I've been using it the last week. I must have just bashed my brush in there too hard. Anyway, putting this in the usual spots. Outer perimeter of my face. How do you guys feel about bronzer? I'm always curious because I like it quite a bit, but I never think it's that subtle. And I don't especially think that I'm subtle with it either. So I always wonder if people look at my bronzer and go like, that's too much. Because I know I watch other YouTubers and it's very clear that they love bronzer too, but I'm like, that's too much. So it's funny how we all have preferences for our makeup. Not that it's gonna change how I do my makeup, but I'm always curious what other people think of it. Like if it's too much or not blended enough. I think I never blend up here properly. Sometimes in pictures I look at it, I'm like, what happened? It's funny, I'm saying all this though, but in hindsight, I'm like, I'm not sure how much feedback I want, because sometimes people offer unsolicited feedback and it's like, you look like a clown with that makeup. And it's like, well, go away, because I don't care about your thoughts on that. So asking someone's opinion on your makeup is a very touchy subject, or at least it can be. All right, bronzer's on. I think it's blended enough. We're gonna go in with some blush. This is a MAC's Gingerly. Looks boring as hell in the pan, but it's really pretty on the cheeks. Go lightly though, because it does kick up a lot. Honestly, the tone is probably not that different from the bronzer. Yep, they're near identical. I would say the blush has a hint more orange in it, but that's about it. I probably could have just used the bronzer as a blush as well. All right, for highlighter, Champagne Pop by Becca. I love this highlighter so much. When it first came out, it was pretty much the only thing I used for probably a month straight. I've since moved on to other products because we all do, but it's probably one of the best highlighters I have in my entire collection. Okay, face done except for brows, my least favorite part of doing my makeup. So I'm gonna go in with the IT Cosmetics Brow Power first, and then I'm gonna follow it up with NYX's Micro Brow in Taupe. The IT Cosmetics one only ever comes in one shade. It's called Universal Taupe. And oddly, it does seem to work on everybody. I don't really know how that works. I really like it though, because it's got like a, oval. I guess that shape is oval. It's oval with pointed edges. So it makes it a lot easier for me to get on the lower line of my brow. I use this to like, what do I do? I guess call it carve out my brow, because I have like nothing. Like, actually that's decent looking, but like, why does my brow stop here? And by the way, I had a lot of people telling me that my brows start too far back. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not gonna draw my brow all the way over here because there is nothing there. I don't pluck my brows ever, so it's not like I should have brows there anyway. So I don't bring them in close to my nose just because that's not how it works on my face. So yeah, that's the one thing when people point it out, I'm just like, that's not my face shape. I don't know what to tell you. So I fill in the bottom line of my brows with this pencil just because it's a little bit softer than the NYX Micro Brow, and I feel like it gives me a little bit more of a defined edge. So when those are in place, then I take my NYX Micro Brow and I fill the top in. I love this pencil, I really do. I've probably gone through like 10 pencils, but it is a little bit stiff and I don't like using it for that bottom line because of it. So after doing my brows for a while, I honestly just end up giving up because they never seem to match. I can never seem to get like the angles right, and I really don't care enough. So at this point I'm done, and that's just how they're gonna stay. So that's it for face makeup. I think the only thing left now is lipstick. And this is the only new product that I'm gonna be using in here. But this is the Too Faced Peach Kiss lipstick, and I'm using the shade Chill Pill. It's one of their newer colors. I just put out a video last week showcasing, I think it was 5 of the 7 new colors. So I'll link that down below in case you're interested. But this is one of the new shades. Honestly, we're going for dinner, so this is probably just gonna come off as soon as we go to the restaurant. I absolutely hate eating with lipstick on, so I always take it off before I eat because I feel like it just goes everywhere. It gets on my food. I'm always conscious that I don't want to like smear it everywhere, and yet somehow it would always end up down here, and I don't want to deal with it, so I take it off before I eat. So lately I've not been enjoying just applying lipstick straight out of the bullet because I feel like it leaves me with a bumpy edge that I don't like. So I've been going in with a lip brush. I'll put my lipstick on first, do like a coat, and then I'll start running the brush over the lipstick and start cleaning up the edge. So there we go with the lip brush. I just feel like the line is a lot more, well, it's sharper and it's cleaner. I don't know if I just didn't notice how lipstick applied on me before or if maybe my lips have changed the older I get, but my lipstick was always catching on the edge of my lips and causing these like little bumps. And it didn't matter if I exfoliated my lips or applied lip balm before, it was just always sort of like catching on certain ridges of my lips, and I hated how it looked. So I started using a lip brush, and it's so much better now. I can get a sharp edge and it just looks cleaner overall. All right, just taking my hair down. So this is the final look. I really like this sort of deep, I guess it's a dark orange, kind of a burnt orange lip with this copper liner. It feels very autumnal, and this is my favorite time of the year, so I'm happy to sort of be matching my makeup to the season. So that's gonna be it for this Get Ready With Me. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.